They're ballsy in that sense, but I'm practically begging them to call us to action.
Now I don't wanna do it, but I ain't afraid to die. Lord knows I ain't perfect, I ain't trying to tell a lie. It's understood and I ain't hearing all that woulda, coulda, shoulda. Trying to say you want peace, then you burn the.
It was my God's honest that I was all about a non-violent approach, but it seems truth is a non-topic.
As y'all know, we've been pretty fed up with, I mean, at this point, both sides, whether it's calling out our own or obviously going against the other side, the far left, woke, mainstream media bullshit. But it's gotten to a point where, enough talk, and I mean that pretty literally about some of the people that I'm going to mention. They're worshiping stars, celebrity. There are very popular, very influential people that oppose the things that are happening right now. Yet, all they do is talk a lot about how it's wrong. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm not saying anyone needs to declare war or anything like that. And we do have a lot of brave people out there who are risking their livelihood to say that your freedoms are getting walked all over right now. Things are heading in a borderline, maybe not even borderline, evil direction. It's never going to end. It's getting to the point of ridiculousness. But, we talked about, I think we remarked on how there was a march for something that wasn't even real recently. I don't remember who it was talking about. Maybe it's like Dennis Prager or somebody was talking about how there was this really impassioned, very large march for blacks to have the right to vote, which they have.
For a long time now.
And this wasn't organized over a long period of time. And I want to say there were hundreds, if not more than that, people there. Aside from all that celebrity worshiping and stuff like that, y'all got to admit that the far left is very, very good at organizing. Maybe it's, you feel like they're offering a free-for-all, go burn shit down, whatever the case may be. But no matter how you slice it, they know how to get a turnout. Mm-hmm. At the very least, they're like that promoter who doesn't have good performers and who doesn't put it together for the right reason, but always has a good turnout.
Stand up with a bunch of fucking dumbass idiots who will pay a bunch of money to see a bunch of bullshit.
But meanwhile, usually there's at least, out of all the people that bitch about it,
there's more people there than not.
Yeah, and if each of the people who bitch about it put $10 in each, I'm pretty sure they could overcome and be the big promoter. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying here. And it's almost 50% of the population, supposedly, or more, to call it the patriotic side, the constitutionalist side. But I kind of scribbled together a list. We talked about a couple of these when I got home. And what I'm asking for is, I mentioned the organization thing, that the call to action, the organizing large groups of people to go out there and at least, march for what you want, or you feel like there's injustice, stuff like that. I gave the example I gave because it's completely fucking stupid, yet hundreds of them come out. Or like that weird women's march where the women wore the vaginas on their head and there were men there too. And
oh yeah, what was
that? Meanwhile, you have your medical freedom, your professional means of providing for your family, your child's ability to see people's faces, the entire economy, the world as we know it being completely stripped away, and none of these people of influence out here who are supposedly just as passionate against these things as we are, they're not doing anything. And respect to Ben Shapiro, who he and Daily Wire are building a legal team to sue, I believe, the administration for trying to force his company in particular to get that thing. And so that's cool. But along with that, Why can't people like, I don't know, Tim Pool, I'm talking to you, even Russell Crowe, who's historically on the left but is against all his, I'm sorry, Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Russell Brand. Actually, Russell Crowe would probably be like, fuck this shit too.
Yeah, Russell
I don't know
Brand.
why I scribbled down Russell Crowe. You're great in Cinderella Man though. But yeah, Russell Brand, you know, he's historically on the other side if you had to draw political lines, but he's more about freedom and cannot believe the way this has been politicized and how people's liberties are being stepped on. He's just another one. Tommy Lauren, talking to you, even the great Jordan Peterson, you know, Matt Drudge, Glenn Beck, Hannity, Candace Owens, who's very outspoken, obviously, Dennis Prager, Dave Rubin, even Elon Musk, who's opposed to the vast majority of things that are being imposed on people, and the title's namesake, Joe Rogan. And I say Joe Rogan because he's gotten to the point where he threatened to sue CNN for basically covering his I can't even say the name of the shit. His treatment, they tried to twist it and call it something that clowned him and, you know, basically use his name for clicks and all that kind of stuff and lie to everyone and try to make him look like a fool. And we know exactly why. I mean, he's against their narrative. But that's even more the reason. And he's someone who has a ridiculous amount of influence on people. More important than his influence is the fact that he's objective. He is more left than right. He weighs everything out with as much objectivity as he can. I mean, he even brings people onto his show who are purposely on the other side of arguments and actually does change them based on data and stuff like that. He's definitely not a conservative. So he's the main one that I'm mentioning because he's somebody who really could have sway over people, who could really fight against something like this. And he has in a lot of respect. But I'm asking for these people, and we talked about Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady, a huge one.
A real conservative there, supposedly.
People love and worship him and look up to him in all walks of life, not even just football fans.
Yeah, he's the epitome of success. Very level-headed guy.
Everybody's buddy.
Yeah, he really
Tom
is.
Brady.
He's the guy you want to show up to the party.
My mother loves Tom Brady.
Robert Kraft. It helps when you got billions of dollars. You could possibly have some say-so and get some other people to organize behind you. Drew Brees. He's appeared to be kind of woke as of late, but supposedly he's a Christian, so I'm going to call him a conservative, even though he probably doesn't deserve that title anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about him. I love Drew Brees, but yeah, I'm not sure where he's at with it.
But all that being said, what I'm asking for here, and maybe I should have led with that, is a walkout.
Something.
A march, a protest. And you may say to yourselves, well, it's only like, you know, whatever, 10, 20% of people haven't bowed down to this yet, so it'd be a lot for nothing. But no. If I were someone who had bowed down to this, had to because of my job, in quotes, and someone I respected was like, look, everybody get behind all those people, all the people who've had it done, you know, who are opposing the far left and the mainstream media here, should walk out and protest as well on behalf of the people who believe the same as them, who either A, weren't able to resist this because of situations that are making it impossible, or B, who caved to it just based on whatever. So, you know, national show them what your labor is worth day, you know, national you're not gonna control my children at school today.
And just be ready, you know, if you do that, you know they're gonna cover you as a white supremacist. They're gonna say that you're fucking worshiping Hitler. They're gonna say this, that, the other. You're a fucking racist, that you're a homophobe. They're gonna throw all that in there.
Yeah,
so,
you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a Trumper.
They already think that. They'll probably, you know, do a bunch of fucking Photoshop pictures of everybody with a bunch of fake Confederate flags. All that shit, but like, well, if you're gonna do that shit, you have to be ready for that. They did it to us already, and that was just for opposing the lockdowns in the beginning in one state. So
That's true. I just feel like
that's why you need people with more of a voice and more of a public presence to be, at the head of it.
that's why I say Joe Rogan, because, well, obviously somebody like Tom Brady is too, but almost beyond reproach.
Mm-hmm.
And Rogan's actually humble enough to where he would definitely argue that point. But really he is beyond reproach. I would venture to say 90% of people, if you threw out anything that Rogan believes, no matter how idiotic they may think it is, they say, well, it's Rogan, so he's thought it through. Yeah, there's got to be something there, and if not, damn, I want to see my guy convince him otherwise, if he is stupid in this instance. He's a person who's respected on both sides of the fence. We've talked about Elon Musk before. These leaders who are either conservative or who simply oppose the far left, which somebody like Rogan is good because there's still plenty of people who respect him and his opinions who are on the left.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that he, along with the rest of the intellectual dark web, were kind of, like pigeonholed as conservatives, and almost none of them are.
Yeah.
Especially him. That's kind of the reason for the name of this video. It's the reason for whatever graphic I'm going to throw together last minute. I had to think long and hard on this one because it's like, we're not asking for some huge campaign by someone. And it's great for people like Candace Owens who truly have the balls to say things in a way that are truly offensive. Like, she doesn't care.
I mean, I applaud all of them that speak openly, because it is brave right now, but we
Costs some money.
unfortunately, we need more. We can't just sit there and do that anymore. We need more. And
We need one action.
Us
To start
doing
the
it
ball.
doesn't really do a whole lot, unfortunately. We need bigger people in place to start it, and then everyone can do it.
Right, and that's exactly it. It would probably be like, oh, it's easier for you guys to say or whatever, but no, it's really not, because obviously at some point in the future, my employer or the employer or the company who's partnered up with my employer could kind of feel enough pressure to change their stance on this.
Yeah, and guess what? We don't have a job in this house anymore if that's the case. Because, what I do isn't going to support the whole family. So.
And this podcast isn't, so...
Right.
So my point is, a guy who's maybe worth $1 billion, he might lose $1 million, whereas I would lose my entire livelihood over this very video.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to hear, oh, it's career suicide. Well, you shouldn't have stepped into a career that had public implications.
You guys already get attacked on a daily, all day, every day, have horrible fucking things said about you. Like, is it really going to hurt you that much?
And it may sound crazy that, can one of these people like Candace Owens or a Tim Pool or something really get a large amount of people out into the street? I believe that they can if it was an organized push.
Yes,
Perfect
we've
example.
got enough people out in the street for the Lansing thing, and there was no famous person involved in that, and this was thousands of people.
There's a guy named, his first name's Sean, that Finnerty guy I watched, who did, Rick Beato does the What Makes the Song Great. He does, What Makes the Song Stink. And he put one together recently that was what he considered to be possibly the worst song ever made, which was a train song. This guy, he's a great musician, but not obviously a famous one. Yeah, he knows people in his hometown. But somehow, and however long it took him to make this video, we'll go ahead and say it could have taken him a week. He was able to organize, it must have been 50, 100 people to show up in a park in the middle of his city to read a prayer, basically, a petition for Train to stop making music. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that Tim Pool could say, all right, guys, enough.
Yeah.
I'm never going to speak on this again if you're too fucking cowardly to do something. But I want, one person in each major city to walk out of their fucking job today and say one word, maybe the name of this day, what we name it.
Talking like a riot or some shit. We
No.
don't operate like that, man.
But we do. January 6th. George W. said January 6th and 9/11 are the same damn thing.
No, you're just going to get the video banned just by doing that.
Oh, that's right. Because he's clearly falling on that side of things. You know what's funny though,
It's
Dub?
fucking nuts.
Well, I call you Dub, right? What's really funny about that is that the day after, on the 12th, all these stories are ran about unity amongst past presidents. Unity is normally guys from opposing sides come together. Well, they named all Democrats. You didn't even get mentioned, bro, as part of that unity.
It's part of, yeah.
You can lick boots as much as you want. You're still not respected by them. And you know what's funny? You're not respected by us. You're literally...
No, you were dumb then, you're dumb now, and you fucking just proved that, so good job.
And you're literally what makes people see the conservatives and the Republican Party as the opposite of what they are. You did everything you possibly could that fed that side of the left. And so, despite all of that, well now, you know, many years later, a lot of us that basically call ourselves Republicans, we're kind of like, well, we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know, time heals wounds. We're kind of like, okay, well, maybe he wasn't that stupid. I stood up for him once or twice in these podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing that in comparison to what's happened in recent times, though.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
not like when he was in office, he was a fucking great president by any means.
But my thing is that what he just did, what he just said, number one, it didn't gain the respect of the left. They all think he's a fucking idiot anyway.
Respect or benefit of the doubt of the Republicans.
He lost us. Those of us who were kind of like, well, we'd rather have him than what came after him.
Oh,
Not necessarily. Or he wasn't that stupid, or maybe he didn't really have anything to do with that one thing.
He makes Trump look very fucking intelligent, and I don't think Trump's like the smartest guy in the world by any means, man. So, yeah.
God, he's up there as far as presidents go.
Yeah.
At this point, when you really start looking at things. But yeah, that's the main point of this video, is just to not a call to arms. I don't know what the fuck.
You can't say arms because we'll get an insight.
Arms. That's all I'm talking about. I want everybody to do curls this week and point at someone who's a dumb lefty. No, but seriously, call to action.
Justice. Say justice because they love the word justice.
Yeah, a call to social justice. Because society needs some justice right now. So we'll call it a call to social justice. And maybe the people who walk out of their jobs or whatever it is for that day, or even if it's for a fucking hour, an extended lunch, maybe they will say justice or the call. Something, just so you know that if it's a small group of people, only a handful, if they were able to say, like, you know, at least 10 people in every major city on this day walked out in protest of the control that's happening right now, that would be kind of a win.
I don't even think anyone should say anything. I think you should all carry duct tape and put a piece of it over your mouth and then walk.
There we go. Actually, that's fantastic.
It would make the most sense.
So yeah, my thing was I was just, as always, I'm sitting there thinking, like, who has reach? Who would have the same message as us? Who has reach? And then my mind went to the next step, like, what could they do? You know, and obviously they're not going to convince the left. The people on the right already agree with them. They've gotten a few here and there in the middle, but who cares if you get people to agree with you? Mm-hmm. You're not getting anyone to do anything that shows, hey, my voice is important. The work I do in this world is important. My freedoms are important. You know, the founder of Gab was talking about a parallel society. And you were the first, maybe even the only one that I brought up that, like, hey, this is exactly what we talked about. Mm-hmm. I called it a shadow society, I think. Parallel society. Ours is a little different. I was talking more like what happened, you know.
Some Jesus fish type shit.
Yeah, like his was more like living off the land and getting your kids out of public schools. And
that all sounds great in theory, but like we have to do it in a realistic type fashion. Unfortunately, that's just not realistic for most people.
And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, well, maybe, you know, all the guys that have influence over people who share these kind of views, well, maybe they could really push for only the companies that have the same views or whatever, like help funnel money in. But that didn't feel like enough.
Gotta have some kind of symbol.
I think that one call to action, a national walkout of jobs. It could be particular types of jobs. It could be civil servants. It could be, somebody who has power over a union who opposes this.
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
If we were able to get one of these influential celebrities or something, though, to organize, even if it's just not even a walkout, just a protest.
Have our damn. I wish that we could get our fucking football players to do this because, for Christ's sake, they'll take a knee. Can we get y'all to walk out and fucking do the tape at a game? I'd love it.
No.
But nobody will.
No way. I mean, it has to be one of these people who makes their living, basically, like you said, having the balls to...
Yeah, it's gotta be someone who speaks for a living.
Yeah, and there's others than who I mentioned.
Well, yeah, there's actors and stuff like that too, but I mean, most of it is people who talk.
Yeah.
They talk as well. So.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like. Okay, it's great that you give people to give money or to buy products from, conservatively based companies or just free thought type of companies and entities. It's great that you get them to buy your shit. It's great that like a percentage of your shit goes to like, say, the Wounded Warrior Project or whatever the fuck it is you're doing. But it's not doing anything for the actual preservation of the freedoms.
And the people who are going to be donating to that.
It's passing the buck is what it's doing. It's saying, well, we're going to give to this organization because they'll do something.
Right.
And that organization probably will give a little bit to these guys because they'll do something. Mm-hmm. At the end of it, it's just like, well, a bunch of conservative and a bunch of centrist entities and people got to stay in business.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal nowadays. But I think we need something more.
Tons of them didn't at the same time.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. You see these protests and you've seen walkouts in the past. You've seen all these things for sometimes relatively small matters. Mm-hmm. This is fucking huge.
This is, global.
Yeah.
It's a national thing right now. It's all around the world, too.
If there's ever been a reason to call people to organize and to at least speak up for themselves, it's now. The one thing, we talked about cowards in the center last year. We talked about very confused libertarians this year. We've talked about undercover or conservatives who stay in the closet, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We've talked about people who are on the left who really oppose the woke left. None of them say or do anything. Well, they may say a lot, but they don't organize any of their troops, so to speak, to do anything. And I understand the fear behind like something like January 6th gets,
right.
It gets taken as like some sort of attempted siege, which is a fucking joke. Come on, dude. But
we're not allowed to do anything even relatively fucking close to that.
And I can see how it would be attempted to be painted that way.
Oh, it's going to be painted that way regardless.
Right. So here's what I have to say to these people. There are people every day who are leading by example, who are probably risking their jobs, taking lower positions, risking the embarrassment of their kids maybe even at school. All of these things to preserve your freedoms, but yet you're not doing any of those things. Maybe in your personal life you are, but with power comes responsibility. What is that from? It's from yeah, that's what it was, Spider-Man. So, I don't know, I really don't have anything else. I have fitness video news and music news, but I'll save that for another time. I'd rather just stay on this because it's too important. Like I said, I don't understand, or I don't expect any mainstream, like say a big radio DJ or whatever. I mean, you have somebody like Howard Stern who is basically calling everybody who doesn't subscribe to his side of the beliefs here, he's calling them an idiot and whatnot. I think he went as far as to say that they were like killing people. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine, whatever, fuck him. But with, okay, fine, don't listen, boycott him, whatever, that's fine. But we're getting to the point where in addition to that, because that's my personal choice, I would like one of my leaders to oppose his viewpoint openly. You know, openly do so, have the balls to do it. And like I said, the ball's in your court to employ us to do the work for you.
Yeah, because we will, but it's got to be, you know, broadcast.
Yeah, so
way.
And look, like, it's not some new novel fucking idea. Like, I know that
We've been talking about this shit for over a year now. I mean, that's why we fucking protested in the street at the Capitol in Lansing.
And there's a good example.
Multiple times.
One local business owner organized all of that.
Yeah, and that was thousands.
Thousands of people from one local business owner.
And it was the most peaceful I've ever seen.
Yeah. So
white, black.
Imagine what somebody with so much more pull could do. It could even be on a fucking weekend. Everybody get together and hold a sign somewhere. It really does feel like a Christian type of thing, because it's like, gave your only begotten son. A lot of Christians, I don't even say myself included, can't return the favor by serving God. Well, it's kind of like that. It's like, oh, you know, thank you so much for preserving our freedoms, but I'm not going to stand up for them, though, but thanks, bro.
Yeah, because, you know.
Thanks for the soul and whatnot, you know. Thanks for the free will, you know. It's like, thanks for the freedom, bro. Appreciate your fighting. You know, next time I have a problem, maybe I'll call you rather than doing something for myself. We're so frustrated and impassioned by these things, and it's almost impossible to find an original topic on it for a basic little podcast. Yeah, okay, maybe I go a little too far with it, where it's like, oh, you don't even have this many people watch. Why is it you have to do something fresh and new every time? Well, because a handful.
We get bored.
Yeah, we do get bored. So it's kind of self-serving. But then, you know, the little bit of people we do have to watch, they like that we always try our best to give good content that's different from the rest.
Agree to be interviewed by us, because obviously you can see we're not anybody fucking, you know, special with some huge amount of reach. So it's like, you think people just agree to be interviewed because we talk about the same fucking thing every day? Probably not.
Yeah, what's interesting is, God, almost every single person, aside from the guys at Nothing Sacred, maybe, every person we've interviewed for the most part,
It's been something different.
It's been something different, and maybe with the exception of John Cash, because we knew him too and talked about this kind of stuff.
Right.
None of these guys did we say anything to them when we solicited an interview with them or in any type of pre-interview. We didn't say anything about our beliefs. We didn't share beliefs with them previous to the interview.
No, it came out naturally.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it was prearranged that we were going to discuss that, which, like you said, was just John.
Yeah, that's hardly ever happened.
And,
all of them shared at least some of the views that we had.
basic, yeah.
But this may make some people who are either conservative or simply anti-left feel better about the world and feel less alone. Like I said, we didn't solicit those people with any type of belief system. None of them knew anything about our show. It was simply like, yo, man, I admire your work. Would love to interview you about it. We've had this person and that person on it. It turned into a good interview. And it, like you said, it came out naturally, because you can't help but talk about certain shit because
What's going on in the world around you.
we try to do like a Rogan and do like long form interviews where it's more natural. You get somebody's real views on things. You maybe tap into a part of them intellectually that maybe your viewers had no idea that. Yeah, shit, I bet you some people sort of kind of came out on our show, came out as anti-left, anti-wokeism, possibly conservative. But I don't know, let us know your thoughts. Maybe how can I have the audacity to order these people of importance to speak on our behalf and whatnot. It's like, okay, well, you're making money. Well, some of you are making money basically off of sharing beliefs with us. At least acting like you care about these causes. So aside from just talking, you would think that it would have crossed your mind once to say, you know, I'm going to use this influence to maybe make a change. And for all I know, guys have done more than I'm privy to. I don't know. And I know they do have events that are kind of a flex, like a show of power. They do speaking engagements. They do go on national TV, and you know, and certain ones love going on national TV with the other guys, or on radio with the other guys. The problem is the other guys don't ever want to actually debate.
Right.
So our guys are, you know, good with it. They're ballsy in that sense, but I'm practically begging them to call us to action. Something basic, because I feel like it'll get the ball rolling. Kind of like the first got the ball rolling, and the second one, and the third one, and then the boost, and then yeah. I feel like same type of thing, or like the 15 days. Like, all right, dude, now we're at 15 days. Let's do a month. Let's do 6 months. Let's do this thing. They'll believe this. It would be amazing if there was a protest at, say, each state capital simultaneously, and each of these guys could just go live to their audience only and say, "Hey."
So you don't even have to like talk.
You can just say, "I supported this," or "I think it's great that people are standing up for their rights." Boom. You don't even gotta say, listen to me begging. You don't even gotta say nothing. Just that's what it sounds like. It's like just a little bit, man. Like just give us a little bit. And yes, we should be capable of organizing our damn selves, but obviously we're not. It's almost like we've just kind of thrown in the towel and become complacent. We're just like, fuck it, man. Is it's more apathy than the intimidation that the left thinks they're flexing on us.
Fuck this shit.
They're just like, man, I'm tired of arguing about it.
Anyway, so give me a
Maybe next week I'll show them, or maybe I'll put it in this one on the other non-YouTube versions of this. That thread that went horribly wrong, WXYZ Detroit today.
Taken down here.
If it don't get taken down off of Facebook, look as soon as you can. Go on to Facebook, go to WXYZ Detroit, Channel 7. Go to their Facebook page and take a look at a story that went horribly wrong. They're trying to get people who got the thing to give their input as to my loved one died of or was very sick from
because they did
that thing. But yeah, because I got this thing, it didn't happen to me. That's what they wanted, okay? What they got was people who got that thing sharing their absolutely horrible experiences, deaths, side effects, like family members, friends. And this wasn't like, oh, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. This was like my son, my grandmother, hospitalized now, you know, or this is documented with that organization that I won't even say the name of. That's what's crazy about it, man. I can't even say the name of a fucking organization that's there for your help.
I just said it. They could see that and they saw it.
It's gotten ridiculous. So, you know, all of our so-called fearless leaders out there, what we refer to them as from time to time, we can't even say the name of organizations that are there for our help. We can't say the name of treatments. We can't say anything. We can't say what we don't want to do.
We should just tape our mouths shut.
I like the tape over the mouth thing. I don't know, like I would love to lead the way, but ain't nobody doing what I say to do.
We'll be the only ones there.
I mean, yeah, as the ball gets rolling, some of us with smaller groups of people behind us will be able to say, hey, let's do it again.
Who would definitely go.
Kind of like, hey, let's roll out yet another one. It'll be kind of like, hey, let's do another protest. Yeah, last one was cool, dude. Like the one guy had
in Lansing, and there was multiple, and they were big.
Yeah, it'll be like the one guy had elephant ears, man. Fuck it, let's go. You know
what I'm saying?
Or, you know, like, I got to take half the day off of work or whatever, you know, or I got out of the house away from the kids or whatever the fuck. I guess that's all I have to say on it. I keep repeating myself because this is extremely important to me, and I don't know how to convince people to give a shit at the level that I do. And maybe I'm wrong that this isn't the right approach, but why not try?
What do we got to lose at this point? Not much.
No. I mean,
nothing really.
Yeah, nothing.
We're losing it all.
We've lost a lot. We've lost a lot, and it's not going to get any better. You know, this is almost the equivalent of, you know, doing what an abuser wants you to do so that they stop abusing you. Mm-hmm. That's where it's at right now, where it's like, please, I'll comply, just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's literally never happened in the history of mankind. And it's been a long history. The history will probably be over soon. But yeah, I'm just gonna go and focus on things that have become, I swear, things like things that normally stress you out feel like a vacation from this shit. Like, dude, I would rather sit there and work my bills out on paper that really show me I'm fucking financially fucked right now. I would rather do that than even talk about this. That's crazy. Like, I would rather go to work. I'd rather stay after work just to occupy my mind away from this shit. I really would. I'd rather go get medical treatment myself than talk about this shit. Like, I almost want to be occupied by some other tragedy.
There are more people out there. Like, it's not that we're completely fucking outnumbered, and, you know, we will fucking sit here and not let you fucking take us down, whatever. There's a bunch of us. It's not just a few. So keep trying to do this shit, and we're still not gonna fucking comply with it.
Yeah, and I always heard about that trucker thing that was gonna happen, where all the truckers were gonna strike, and it was gonna show that, you know, you don't get any food, you don't get anything.
That was a big threat at the time. Yeah, like, and we were actually worried about that, like, in the beginning of all this. It was like, you know, oh my God, what are we gonna do then? If all the truckers going on strike, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah.
Don't you think if one of these influential people basically kind of told them to, that they would actually do that? Maybe. At least a number of them that would make an impact. It has to be soon, obviously, because, you know, you have to make the impact felt, meaning, like, if you give too much advance notice, you know, your job, anything like that, you may be afraid that you could be replaced.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, you have a couple days notice. And I mean, you just got to realize that you have more control of your life than you realize. And honestly, if your job would drop you over you leaving for 45 minutes or something,
drop you already.
yeah, you're not safe in your job. And I understand if they rule with fear, like, they're basically like, well, their little jobs are all they have left. It's like, yeah, but a lot of people learn how to make money outside of a job, and they've learned that other jobs are just fine too. So
supposedly everybody in the fucking world's hiring right now, so
right. This is the perfect time to risk your income.
Go out and get a fucking other job, because it's so easy and shit.
But I got really nothing else to add to it because I'm frustrated.
I'm neither. I'm angry. I'm very tired, and I need to go to bed. So.
All right. On that note, I say peace.